You've seen the magic, right? These large language models, they can whip up a poem, spit out code. It's truly amazing. But, and this is a big but, have you ever tried to use one for something that really matters? Something you need to be right every single time? It's like flipping a coin, isn't it? You just never know what you're going to get. So, how do we fix that? How do we tame this wild, powerful thing? Well, it all comes down to getting better at talking to it.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into why AI feels so darn unpredictable. Then we'll shine a spotlight on the two main reasons for that chaos, randomness, and this other kind of scary thing called fabrication. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, the solution, prompt engineering, and then we'll build out your very own prompting toolkit so you can master your prompts.
You know, the root of the problem is really just a communication gap. We think we're being perfectly clear, but to the AI, it's a totally different story. It's kind of like trying to give directions to a super smart alien who has learned your language but has absolutely zero of your life experience or context.
Okay, be honest. Has this ever happened to you? You ask the AI for, say, a simple summary, and it gives you back this dense 5-paragraph essay. So you think, okay, I'll try again. You copy and paste the exact same question, hit enter, and poof. This time, it's a bulleted list. What is going on? This inconsistency is a huge problem, and believe it or not, it all boils down to one single choice in how these things are designed.
And that design choice has a fancy name, stochasticity. But don't worry, the concept is pretty simple. These models are actually built to be a little bit random. See, they're not just looking up an answer in a giant encyclopedia. Nope, they're predicting the most likely next word in a sentence, and there can be tons of perfectly good options to choose from.
Let's actually see this in action. We're going to run a little experiment. We'll give a few different AI models the exact same super simple prompt. Tell me about the element gallium. Let's see what they come up with.
Okay, so Model 1 comes back with a really solid, kind of textbook-style answer. A few paragraphs. It covers the chemical properties, atomic number, what it's used for. You know, pretty much exactly what you'd expect. A nice, safe response.
But here's where it starts to get weird. We feed the exact same prompt to a different model, Model 2. And what do we get? A totally different answer. It's way shorter, and it hones in on completely different facts. The information is still right, but the whole feel and focus of the response has changed.
And just to prove the point, let's try a third model. This one from the same company as one of the others. And, yep, another totally different result. This one all of a sudden decided to use Markdown and bullet points. We never asked for that. Every answer is technically right, but not one of them is the same.
And this really is the crux of it. That randomness, that stochastic nature, means you can't build a reliable app or workflow on top of a simple prompt. If you need a specific format or you need to pull out a specific piece of data every time, you just can't count on it without giving it much, much better instructions.
Now, if randomness was our only problem, we could probably find ways to deal with it. But there's a second and honestly a much more dangerous problem. These models will, with complete and utter confidence, lie right to your face.
And wow, this example just nails it. We asked an older model an impossible question: who won the 2025 Oscar? Now, it could have just said, hey, I can't predict the future. But no, it confidently makes up a movie, Echoes of Tomorrow, and tells us it won. It's just a fabrication. Now look at the newer model. It's smart enough to say, hold on, that hasn't happened yet. So you can see they're getting better, for sure, but it also shows you just how careful you have to be.
This is what we call fabrication, or you've probably heard the term hallucination. It happens because the model isn't thinking like we do. It's a prediction machine. It's just guessing the next word that would statistically make sense in a sentence, based on the mountains of text it was trained on. And sometimes the most plausible sounding sentence is a complete work of fiction.
So, we've got these two huge problems: randomness and fabrication. It sounds pretty bad, right? But the solution is actually something we can all do. It's not about changing the AI model. It's about changing how we talk to it. And that's exactly what prompt engineering is.
So what is prompt engineering? It's just the art of writing really good instructions. Think of it this way. You're not just asking a question anymore. You're writing a detailed job description for a brilliant but very literal assistant. You have to give it all the context, the rules, and the examples it needs to do the job right.
So, how do we put this into practice? Let's build a quick toolkit, and we'll use a real-world example. Let's say you're a middle school teacher, and you need a quick lesson plan on the U.S. Civil War.
We're going to zero in on 3 key techniques that will absolutely transform your results. Being super specific, giving the AI the facts yourself, and using examples to show it exactly what you're looking for.
First things first, be specific. A prompt like write a short essay could mean anything. But when you say, write a 2-paragraph essay formatted in Markdown and make sure you include key dates, big events, and important people, well, now you've given it a clear target. You've removed the guesswork and taken back control.
Okay, next up, how do we fight those fabrications? This one is a game changer. The best way to stop an AI from making things up is to give it the facts yourself. We call this grounding the model. You literally copy and paste the information you want it to use and then tell it, answer my question based only on this.
Here's a perfect example. Instead of just asking who fired on Fort Sumter and letting it guess, we first give it the paragraph from Wikipedia that has the answer. Now when we ask the question, it's not searching its massive brain, it's just looking at the little piece of text we gave it. The result? A perfectly factual, consistent answer every single time.
And finally, what if you need a really specific style or a creative format? Well, you can actually teach the AI by showing it what you want. This is called few-shot prompting. It's as simple as giving the AI a couple of examples to get it started, and it'll follow your lead.
Check this out. The difference here is night and day. On the left, a simple question gets a boring standard list. But on the right, we give it a pattern. We say, A is for apple, B is for banana, with a little rhyme. And look, the AI totally gets it. It immediately continues the pattern for C and D, even matching the rhyming style on its own. It's incredibly powerful stuff.
So when you put these all together, being specific, grounding with facts, and giving examples, you're no longer just a passive user. You are actively directing the AI's output. It becomes this back-and-forth craft of tweaking your instructions until you get precisely what you envisioned.
All right, so let's wrap up with the key things to remember. First, always keep in mind that AI is random by nature and it can make stuff up. Your number one tool to fight that is a clear, specific instruction. Don't be afraid to try and try again. Add more details, give it examples, and when accuracy is critical, ground it in facts. And hey, if you get stuck, there are tons of prompt libraries out there to give you some great ideas.
You know, this really reframes how we should think about all this. Prompting isn't just typing questions into a box. It's a new kind of programming, a new language for creativity. It's a tool that does exactly what you tell it to. So the real question is, what are you going to build with it?